Richie Gecko.
Sit, Gecko. It's rough.
No, he really didn't want to direct this movie. It was the only script that he wrote that he never intended to direct. All the other ones he wrote, he really shot in his head already, and this was one that he had been hired to write.
Special effects expert Robert Kurtzman hired him to rewrite his script about vampires.
They said, we want a movie that'll showcase our effects in this vampire bar.
He offered him $1,500 and promised to help with special effects on any of Quentin's future projects. Tarantino agreed and rewrote the whole thing. That is how From Dusk Till Dawn came into being. But Kurtzman was unable to shoot it.
And then we struggled for 10 years after that to try to get the movie off the ground because...
For financiers, it's now like a mixed bag. It's like two movies in one, right?
Right.
But it was a negative then.
A lot of people passed on it for that. And because they thought it was too violent, too vulgar, you know, all the things that make it great.
And like over the years, I would take it out and look at it. This was my exploitation film. This was fun. This is like a really good one. I gave it to Robert to read because Robert just wanted to read all my scripts, and because me and Robert were friends and buddies and stuff. And he read it and he came back and he goes, "Man, this is a really cool script. I'd do this tomorrow, man."
But then Pulp Fiction comes out. And now everybody wants to make it. Oh, it's two movies in one. It's great, you know.
And so then when Johnny Nannari and Mayor Tepper had just like within like weeks after Pulp opened, they had gotten the rights to the script. And they said, "Look, how can we make you involved?" And I said, "If you offer it to Robert Rodriguez to direct it and he says yes, I'll be involved."
Right. And then he said, and these producers have it. I didn't get paid dick, so I'll do a rewrite, and you and I will go in together. You should be the director because it takes place in Mexico, and you're Mexican.
Where are you taking us?
Mexico.
What's in Mexico?
Mexicans.
From the sick and deviant mind of Quentin Tarantino will be coming From Dusk Till Dawn, horror film that we're going to be making sometime later in the summer.
Miramax gave the project a $19 million budget, which was more than all the duo's previous film budgets combined.
You said, you know, this is the time now to make this movie.
Right. We can do like almost an Italian like spaghetti zombie film, you know, Cannibal Holocaust, you know, with an $18 million budget. I will be able to make it exactly the way it should be made, and if only the Fangoria crowd sees it, well,
fine.
That's okay.
That was how the Friends received complete creative freedom and began to cast actors for the roles. The first to be picked were Quentin and Rodriguez's friends, Harvey Keitel.
Has anybody here read a real book about vampires, or are we just remembering what some movie said?
Juliette Lewis.
Sorry, that hurt. I heard that. Oh my God!
And then so she calls me up and we're just bullshitting, and she goes,
"Hi Quentin, I read your script and I think it's really cool. You know, I'd be really interested in playing the part I take." You know? And I was like, what?
I was like so inspired by the fact that, oh my God, we might get one of the best young actresses of her generation to play this character.
And it was like right when I was rewriting it. So like I felt an obligation to make the character better. So it would be worth her time to show up.
The whole pussy eating scene came from that, because how great she would do with that.
Right.
Richie, would you do me a favor and eat my pussy for me? Please. I'm hamming it up. Let me just do one more. I'm just sweating. That fucking coffee is crazy. Okay.
And Cheech Marin.
You can find cheaper pussy anywhere. Fuck it.
Cycles? What was that?
When we have a table read with your actors, you only have your main actors there. So sometimes you'll assign other parts to other people who are there.
So Cheech read for the border guard, because there was no border guard actor there, and for Carlos, and he would do them all in a different voice.
We talked about it, but like, you know, like Cheech is such a good, that it would be kind of neat if he played all three parts.
Right.
And then we brought it up to Cheech.
So I go and tell Cheech. Cheech is just freaking hilarious. And you go, "Hey man, you're going to play all three characters. Do I get paid 3 times?
But you think it was funny?
Later, as a nod to B-movies, roles were given to B-movie star Fred Williamson and makeup artist Tom Savini, who had worked on Friday the 13th and Dawn of the Dead.
I met Quentin a long time ago at a convention where I was a guest of honor. Quentin was a kid in the crowd. Said, "Mr. Savini, I wonder if you'd come by this video store where I work and sign some of your videos. We have lots of old videos. You probably like them. We're in Manhattan Beach." Okay. I went, because I'm nice to everybody. You know why? I grew up to be Quentin Tarantino.
We're having to explain to Miramax about how big Tom Savini is. You don't quite realize this, but in the horror lexicon, Tom Savini is more famous and more worshipped than me and Robert and George and Harvey and all of us put together. A horror convention would stomp us to death to get Tom Savini's autograph.
What are you gonna do about it? My job for 3 days was to watch Salma Hayek do that snake dance, okay? You know, somebody had to do it.
Next, Robert Rodriguez brought Salma Hayek to the project.
When we cast Salma, you saw Desperado and changed Blonde Death to Santanico Pandemonium, which is a name that came from...
I worked at Video Archives and we got like a poster for this Mexican horror film that was like so bloody and ridiculous that I've never forgot the name.
Right. It's called Santanico Pandemonium.
And I could never say it without saying, Santanico Pandemonium!
Esta noche presentamos ustedes. Salma's been in all my movies, so I said, I want you dancing with a big, like a python. And she was afraid of snakes, so I said, oh, well, that's the only way you're going to get the job.
Rodriguez even lied, saying that he'd offered the part to Madonna.
And if Robert had not pushed me into it, I would have missed it.
And it was really fun because I think all of us were surprised because she was so kind of shy, sort of about. But the minute they said action, played the music, she just killed it.
And of course, the reference to the screenwriter's own foot fetish.
Like George said, this is the case of Quentin the writer taking care of Quentin the actor.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin gets to suck on her toes, George gets to fight a big hairy rat later on.
The biggest challenge was finding someone to play Seth Gecko. Quentin offered the part to John Travolta, Michael Madsen, and Christopher Walken. Robert offered it to Antonio Banderas, but everyone had a reason for turning it down. But while Tarantino was filming the final episodes of ER as a guest director, he met George Clooney
and said, hey, you know, I wrote this thing that Robert Rodriguez is going to direct, and do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, are you kidding?
And the thing that I remember, like, you know, because I'd seen every episode of ER, that's why I did the show. There was an episode where he realized that, like, this father was abusing this kid, and he just flips out, and he goes out into the waiting room, and he punches the guy out. He's the only guy on the show that would have been an option.
I'm all right.
Since he plays the complete opposite, I mean, he plays an ER doctor on television, I wanted him to come and portray someone who sends people to the ER.
Welcome to slavery.
No, thanks. I already had a wife.
George Clooney, everybody.
I was like making George's demo reel. I said, George, we're going to get you work after this. We're going to show him that you're not just a doc on TV, that you can play dangerous, you can have that edge that they're all looking for.
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
And now he's Batman.
What were you saying? He said, like, if I can't make a movie star out of George Clooney, I got to go to movie jail.
I go to movie hell for that, because here's a chance to really feature someone no one's seen up on the big screen.
This is my kind of place.
There are a few interesting facts worth mentioning, one of which is
one of my favorite, like, remarks I read in a review. They're talking about, like, the vastness of the Titty Twister. They were saying, in the Tarantino Mall, this goes right next to Jackrabbit Slims.
Exactly. This turns into something that we talked about for a long time about making a franchise of.
I cannot tell you how many people have said, you know, so are you going to start Jackrabbit Slims as a real restaurant and, like, do a chain of them, like Planet Hollywood and everything? And I'd say, like, I don't quite know how much I like the idea of Jackrabbit Slims. There's sort of, like, some irony about it. It's kind of a critique of those places. But I could almost be interested in doing a chain of Titty Twisters exactly the way they are here.
Because this place is just wonderful, man. It's like a dream.
And another is that Jules' monologue from Pulp Fiction was initially written for the head of the Fuller family.
He was pulling stuff out of it because it was just like not going to get made.
An old car.
So I said, before it gets picked clean, let's go make this thing.
And I just replaced it with just a visual sight gag of him putting a shotgun in a bat, thinking, I got to replace your dialogue with something.
Yeah.
Might as well make it something big.
You know, it was perfect this way, with just him doing it through, like, you know,
the power of taking two weapons and making them some holy, and having to become a preacher again.
Exactly.
Thanks to the role of Richard Gecko, Quentin found himself in the company of Val Kilmer, Burt Reynolds, and Marlon Brando. All of these actors were nominated for a Golden Raspberry for Worst Supporting Actor in '96. Nonetheless, many consider it to be the best performance of Tarantino's acting career. He was able to bring to the screen a real psychopath without exaggerated grimaces and pages of text which he usually hid behind. Years later, many critics began to observe that his performance was one of the highlights of the movie.
I tried to approach him like a serious movie about a real schizophrenic. He doesn't know he's in a vampire film. He thinks he's in Dead Man Walking or something, you know? So I always had like, well, he wouldn't say a joke. Give it to George.
What is this? It's called a punch. And he was very serious about it. It wasn't like, hey, all right, I'll just act in the movie. He really wanted to do that. And it was fun to watch.
Seth, I'm telling you, the way he looked at us, you especially, I knew he knew. Low profile. You understand the meaning of the words low profile.
Hey, Richie, how's your hand? It hurts like a fucking son of a bitch.
The picture was released in January of '96 and led the box office its opening weekend, but then lost momentum, collecting around $30 million. This number was a disappointment for Miramax Studios, which had high hopes for the project. The press didn't help the picture either. It not only criticized Tarantino, but found fault with Rodriguez and Clooney as well.
That's a matter of opinion, and I don't give a fuck about yours.
But, as always, time will tell, since Dusk Till Dawn became a cult classic, which entertains movie lovers to this day.
Most of the reviews that were bad were like, I love the first half of the movie, what the hell happened in the second half? But people who liked the movie, like me, that was the secret to it, was that it all went haywire later, and that was the fun of it. You know?
This is exactly the movie we wanted to make, man. You know, if you got a problem with it, you know what? That is your problem.